Hey Sunshines, welcome to week 4. This week was all about health and, in this particular case, physical activity. So let's get into it. This week, my goals were very simple, and the reasoning is also obviously pretty simple. My goal was to do as many push ups as possible every day, as many sit ups as possible every day. Just like if I sit down or get into position, how many push ups and sit ups I can do at once. I know, relating back, my dad was much more active when he was younger and less so and less so. And kind of again, towards the end, he really wasn't doing that much to kind of keep himself in shape. He was in a lot of pain and he was very, very unhappy. So, kind of, I know that for me, exercise has had a lot of like bad connotations, like it's you only do it like to diet and lose weight. I didn't want to make this like just, like a weight loss goal or whatever. So, the goal really is tied for me at this point to how many I can do. That is kind of like the exercise portion. The less clear-cut portion for me is eating more fruits and vegetables and cutting down on sweets. So that was pretty much what this week was about. It was by far the easiest so far in terms of like just the new stuff. I've still been working on forgiveness and on empathy and all of that kind of stuff. The empathy one again this week was rough, but I'll explain that later. My whole like goals of push-ups and sit-ups, by today I was actually able to hit the 30 sit-ups, but I'm still only at like 15 push-ups. And, I am trying to keep in mind like form and, all of that stuff, because I also don't want to hurt my back trying to do something to make myself healthier. That seems like a bad choice all around. The really good thing is, pretty much every day, I think I started the week at like 10 and 5. I've been able to go up every day, even if it's just by one. So for that, I think that was really a positive for me. I was very happy. I hope I can continue to do that. In terms of eating more fruits and vegetables, I had a plan and I wasn't quick enough to get it in place. I really want to try this company that does like smoothies, but they send them to you, I think, frozen, and like you add the water or milk or whatever and blend it. I thought that might, for me, be good because I really hate cutting up like 1,000 vegetables. And every time I get frozen vegetables, like frozen fruits, they get all sticky and whatever. So these like come pretty much ready to go. I was hoping that that would make it easy for me and encourage me to eat more fruits and vegetables and all of that. But I just didn't get that set into place early enough. So that'll be something that's going to continue. The one kind of problem that I have noticed with myself is I didn't come up with a specific time or like place to do my push-ups and sit-ups. Sometimes I do them in the morning, before I have my coffee. Bottom line, I am going to keep continuing with this empathy and with forgiveness and try and keep going and sort of build on it. I realize that so many of the things I want to do this year are kind of like big emotional things. So one week is not really going to cover it. So I found myself kind of planning secondary things later on in the year. We'll do another week of health. It might focus on something else, but like the goals are more or less the same. Like the specific goals might be different, but the idea is more or less the same, which is to get healthier, to lead a long and happy life. Hopefully. Now we come to empathy, and I'm going to throw one of my favorite things in here. Actually, it's one of my favorite things and least favorite things. So there is a trigger warning for animal cruelty. It's tough. I don't like to think about it, but at the same time, it's a really important environmental topic. If you stay, you'll see in a second. If you can't do it, I totally get it. But if you can, maybe give it a listen. I'll have some resources in the description if you want to help. One of my favorite things is sharks. I love them. I think one of my first books, so I think my first book was on dinosaurs, and like my second book was on sharks, called Hungry Hungry Sharks, and I think it's still available like in print, and I have my first copy. I love sharks. I think they're so fascinating. I've done my best to like learn about them. I don't know. They're really cool and they do so much for the planet. It is currently this summer in Massachusetts, where I'm from, pretty much all along the eastern seaboard of the United States, probably the western too, and I know many other places. Right now, people are gathering for shark tournaments and things like that, where technically a lot of these animals are endangered, but for science, they allow fishermen to catch and kill them. Now, here's the problem. Number one, the scientific value is probably negligible. They also catch and kill juveniles, which is decimating the populations, and the way they do it is horrifyingly cruel. And I think part of the problem is people are like, well, they're sharks, so why not kill them? I've been using this example a lot, and people get annoyed, but hear me out. So technically, if you want to look at it, sharks kill roughly 5 to 10 people a year. Numbers go up and down for various reasons. There are lots of people in the ocean every day. So if sharks were actually intentionally killing people, there'd be hundreds of deaths, as there are with things like crocodiles, who do technically hunt people. On the other hand, you have dogs. Dogs worldwide kill, I think, like 5,000 people a year, and we love them. Well, most of us love them. Sunshine, my favorite being on existence. I love him. He's my baby. Even though dogs kill 5,000 people a year, if you were to say, well, we were trying to keep the dog population down, so I hooked one by a leash behind my car, and then I dragged him along the road for 2 hours to tire him out before, pulling him in the car and then butchering him alive. That's a pretty horrific visual. And I mean, everybody would be enraged, and, they would be picketing and protesting and, everything. Well, that's what they're doing to sharks. And the population of sharks is already endangered, and dogs are not. I am not advocating for the torment of dogs the same way I don't want the torment of sharks, but just trying to kind of do a little bit of a comparison of the two, because again, like, one you think of as like this, they're man's best friend, and the others are, portrayed as man eaters, but they're really not. Like, sharks are so diverse and interesting, and there have been so many like I don't know, cool and just amazing thing. Like one of my favorite shark facts, I just find this like so bizarre and funny and like so great white sharks have actually been known to do something called spy hopping, which is like they come up and stick their like nose and eyes out of the water and then look around. Just okay, there are a lot of seals there right now. I think this might be a good time. Like very few oceanic animals do that, and yet they do. Like, could you imagine just you're on a boat and like a great white just like pops his head up next to you, like, oh, what's going on? I don't know. I find that very fascinating, and we're finding out more and more every day. They're very fascinating, and I guess I'm just trying to say all of this to say care about them and their well-being enough that you will hopefully try to spread awareness. So here's the thing. In the link below, I will have um, in the in the box below, whatever. I'm going to link you to a couple of places. One of which is on Instagram, and it's interestingly enough Eli Roth. I think it's at Real Eli Roth. He's actually a horror movie director. Well, a director, but mostly horror movies. And he did some work with Shark Week a few years ago and has pretty much been working on shark conservation since. He had a brilliant movie out last year. I believe the name is Finn, and I think you can see it on Amazon Prime or Discovery Channel. And it was a great movie. It is really hard to watch. I mean, there is a lot of animal cruelty, so I understand if you can't get through it. But so he is doing a ton, and he has also been posting places to call, to write to, put on blast on social media. He's been kind of putting a lot of that stuff together. He's also been taking videos from people. If you happen to be in one of these places and catch things on camera, people say that they're legal, but within the legality, a lot of the people, like there have been videos of organizers encouraging people to kill more sharks than they're allowed to, because I think like there are limits. Kill more sharks than they're allowed to. Target species that are endangered and they're not supposed to target. Telling them ways to basically hide the fact that they're killing more animals than they should. And they're also teaching people how not to get caught by people filming on cell phones or drones and or environmental agencies. So if you're being taught how to avoid capture, you don't do that if you're doing something legal. Sorry that ended on kind of a little bit of a rougher note than normal, but it is a big thing and it's something I feel like I have to highlight. And even if you're seeing this and it's not the summer, remind those companies that you like and things like that not to get involved in this. There'll be a few things you can do down there. And if you made it to the end, you are amazing. And I'm going to give you a little bit of sunshine serotonin right now to kind of decompress a little bit. And I will see you next week. Bye. Hey, my sweetheart. Yeah. Just hanging out on the polar bear? Could you look cuter? Oh, there you go.